All right, I'm going to talk about it. So this court case, which I've been told or heard or whatever, that if you were unaware the last several years, you've been living under a rock. Apparently, I live under a rock because up until a few weeks ago, I had no idea. I had never heard the woman's name in my life. Ever, not once. And if I did, it did not register. I don't watch movies like Aquaman. Anyhow, this woman has single-handedly enraged an entire community, and by that I mean survivors, I guess. I don't like that term. I don't like, my dog is beating his tail against the floor. The whole survivor victim thing, I don't like to wear that title. I don't mind when other people do, because if that's what helps them get through it, more on them. But I do need to say, there are instances of my life that I got through and they were insanely difficult. One of my children is a result of one of these incidents, and the face is almost identical to the perpetrator. And he's aware. He's old enough to know. And he knows I don't hold it against him. But what has happened is I had thought I coped pretty well with it. In fact, somebody I was speaking to last year made a comment that when asked about certain situations in my life, like, what was it like when your dad died? Or, just personal questions, that I will say a very traumatic thing. These are their words. That I will make a very traumatic statement, but I will say it like, oh, it's raining outside. Or, something very nonchalant like that. And it's because I've already been through it. I've already cried about it. I've already gone to psychologists and psychiatrists and hypnosis and all of that. However, watching her on the stand, and I've had to stop watching. I have gotten physically ill. Like physically ill, because it's giving me flashbacks. And it's not because she's reminding me, it's because I know she's lying. I don't know why she's lying. I don't know if she's lying about all of it. All I know is that these details she's forgetting, you don't forget. You know what the poster looks like on the wall. You know what things smelled like. You know what was said. It doesn't matter how many decades ago it was. You remember every detail, everything. You might not exactly remember a few hours before, but more often than not, you definitely remember the after. And I can tell you for sure that I remember the afters, and there was a point in my life where something happened when I was, I don't know how many times it happened when I was a kid, but I fully blocked it out for 7 years. 7 years. All I knew is I didn't trust people. I was very skittish and jumpy. That's where I get my PTSD from. That's part of where I get my PTSD from. But fully blocked out for 7 years. And then one night it all came flooding back in. Every little detail, every word said, everything that happened in the order that it happened. Oh my God. But then these other incidents, because unfortunately, I'm going to call it a phenomenon, but I know that it's much more simple than that. Somebody who has been a victim as a child or a teenager or whatever, is more apt to be victimized again. And it's not that we are doing something wrong. It's that everybody is a threat, and you don't really know how to decipher threats when you see everyone as a threat. Do you see what I mean? I might not be making any sense to some people, but the fact is, you think, okay, yeah, nothing like that's ever going to happen to me again. I know the signs, I know what to look out for, and then bam, out of left field, somebody new comes in with something new. But this woman sitting up there on the stand, I have never experienced this. And I actually needed to talk to my psychologist yesterday, because if a person giving their testimony is lying to such a degree that it makes you vomit and start to regress in your own therapy, that's a problem. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. This is my entire community in that part of my life. And I am very much a compartmentalizing person. There's the Rachel that's been through this. There's the Rachel that does this for a living. There's a Rachel who's the mom. I'm very compartmentalized. And I think that's why when somebody asks questions about my parents or my kids or whatever, or if they flat out ask about situations like that, I will often say it in a very nonchalant, clear, concise way. I'm not dramatic about it, but I'm not, at the time when I just got a text. Anyway, at the time when it happened, though, speaking to police, that's another story. You can't get the words out. You don't want to talk to them. I mean, like in one incident, I went home. I got into, once I was in the house, I climbed into the shower. I sat down in the bottom of the bathtub, and I just let water rain down on me for God knows how long. I know we ran out of hot water. I know that, but I didn't care. I stayed there because you feel dirty. You cannot wash it off. You want to wash it off. You literally want to climb out of your own skin. She's causing problems. And now she's creating the further issue of setting back, where now people are being believed when they say, I'm in this abusive relationship, or this thing happened to me by that person. I know their mother's a kindergarten teacher, and I know they get straight A's in school, but no, they did this to me today. We weren't believed before. We were questioned so heavily and had to hear statements from the mother of someone who assaulted me. Actually sat down in front of me and said, this is the worst thing that ever happened to her. It was what happened to me was the worst thing that ever happened to her. I was speechless. Absolutely speechless. I'm glad that's the worst thing that's ever happened to her, but wow. Anyway. If you haven't watched this case, don't. Just don't. Have a good one.